Hello everybody. In this video, I would like to discuss the answer of activity number 2. Before I answer this question, I would like to discuss the cost classification based on cost behavior. We classified cost based on its behavior to variable cost and fixed cost. Let's start with the variable cost. Variable cost is a cost that varies in total in direct proportion to change in the level of activity. Level of activity, by the way, can be expressed in many ways, such as unit produced, unit sold, miles driven, like our example today, and so forth. A good example of variable cost is direct materials. The cost of direct materials used during a period will vary in total in direct proportion to the number of units that are produced. Just to make it simple, let's imagine that we have a car factory. Each car, of course, requires one battery. As the output of cars increase and decrease, the number of batteries used will increase and decrease, of course. If car production goes up 10%, then the number of batteries used will also go up 10%. So here, the cost varies when the level of activity is changed. So we call here direct materials as variable cost. Let's move to the second type, which is fixed cost. Fixed cost is a cost that remains constant in total regardless of the change of the level of activity. Whatever we do with the level of activity, the fixed cost will remain constant, no change. So this is, of course, unlike variable cost. The best example of fixed cost is rent cost. Let's imagine that our company rent a shop for £10,000 a month. What will happen to this rent if the level of activity change? So if we sell more units, nothing will happen. The rent will remain constant, so no change. So in that case, I will consider rent a shop or the cost of rent a shop as a fixed cost. Now let's move to our example and try to answer it based on this classification. Let's now read the question. Thrifty cars hire a vehicle to a number of clients and charge a rate per mile for the use of them. The accountant is attempting to work out the cost per mile of the cars so that a charge out rate can be calculated. The cost of thrifty cars are as follows. Cars cost £15,000 and have a trade in value of £5,000 at the end of 2 years. Depreciation is calculated on a straight line basis. How to calculate depreciation? Very simple. Straight line method, so it will be the cost minus residual value divided by useful life. So here £15,000 minus £5,000 divided by 2 years, so in that case it will be £5,000 a year. Running cost including servicing work out at £600 in the first year and £800 in the second year due to increased maintenance cost. Tires need replacing every 25,000 miles at 450 for a full set. Petrol, oil and lubricant cost 15p a mile. Tax, insurance, RAC, membership costs 750 a year. The requirement, calculate the cost per mile. So this will be level of activity if the cars are estimated to travel 30,000 miles or 50,000 miles in a 2-year period. So this is the requirement. So here, consider miles driven will be our level of activity. And then try to go one by one and classify them based on fixed cost, variable cost, and because here in our example we have a stepped cost. So let's go one by one. First, cars cost £15,000 and they have a trade value. This is, as I mentioned, this is depreciation. We calculated it's 15,000 minus 5 divided by 2, so this is equal £5,000 a year in 2 years. So in total, this will be £20,000. This, of course, will not change as a response to change on miles. So in that case, I will consider depreciation here as fixed cost. So in total, this will be £10,000. This is, as I mentioned, 5,000 in year 1 and 5,000 in year 2. The second item is running cost, including servicing workout at £600 in the first year and £800 in the second year due to increased maintenance costs. So again, this is fixed. Whatever, or actually how many miles I will use, it will not matter. Actually, for me, it will be fixed cost, 600 in the first year and 800 in the second year. So I will add this to fixed cost. Third, tires need replacing every 25,000 miles at 450 for a full set. Here, if we use miles to the level of 25,000, in that case I need to change the tires for 450. So in that case, this will be considered as a stepped cost because it's fixed to specific level, which is 25,000 miles. If I increase more, I need to change the tires for 450. Here, they mention in the requirement that it's to travel 30,000 or 50,000 miles in 2 years, which means 30,000 in 2 years mean 15 in the first year, 15 in the second year. 50,000 mean 25 in the first year and 25,000 miles in the second year. So how to deal with this? Let's consider it for the first one, which will be 30,000 miles. For 30,000 miles, in that case, I will use 15 in the first year, so I will not need to change the tire because I change it in the level of 25. So in that case, it will be 0. But the second year, I will use another 15, so in total it will be 30. So I need to change the tire in 25. So in that case, I need to pay for the tires, which will be in that case 450. Or let's consider 50,000 miles. 50,000 miles means 25 in the first year, 25 in the second year. So in that case, I need to change the tire twice. I will change it one time in the first year and second time in the second year. So in that case, it will be 450 in the first year and 450 in the second year. The next item will be petrol oil. This is cost 15p a mile. This is very clear. So if you increase the mile, the total cost will change. So for the first mile it will be 15p. For the second mile it will be 30. 3 miles it will be 45 and so on. So I will add just this in my table as it is, and I will try to consider it when I calculate the cost per mile. Then tax, insurance, RAC membership cost 750 a year. This is of course fixed cost because this will not change. It's your membership, it's your insurance, it's your tax, it's still the same. So in that case it will be fixed cost. Now I finish. So let's get the total of fixed cost. It will be 6,350 for the first year, 6,550 in the second year. The variable cost, 15p per mile. The stepped cost will be 0 in the first year, 450 in the second year. This is if you use the car for 30,000 miles. And if I use the car for 50,000 miles, this will be 450 in the first year and second year. Let's now calculate the cost per mile for 30,000 miles. So if I use the car for 30,000 miles, in that case, I will use all the fixed cost of the first year and all the fixed cost of the second year. It will not affect by this decision. So in that case, it will be 6,350 plus 6,550. Plus, if I use the car for 30,000, in that case, I need to change the tire in year 2 by 450. This is divided by number of miles, which is 30,000 a mile. This is the fixed cost, and the stepped cost is still the variable cost, which is 15p per mile. So I don't need to divide it because it's already in mile. So in that case, the cost per mile will be £59.5. Let's now move to 50,000 miles. In that case, I will take the total as it is of fixed cost, nothing change, but the stepped cost in that case will be 450 and 450. So it will be 900 divided by, instead of 30,000, it will be 50,000. And of course, the variable cost is still the same, which is 15p per mile. In that case, the cost per mile will be 42.6. So for 30,000 miles, it will be £59.5. For 50,000 miles, it will be 42.6 miles. This is the answer of the question. Thank you.